I wanted to give you like a paranormal segment tonight because you did your own segment for like 17 minutes last week.
Well, do you want to talk about? I could do a paranormal thing. Again, I actually studied this stuff. You know, if you want to do a paranormal section, I'll give you what I went through. I went to Baruch College here in Manhattan. That's a CUNY school, which just stands for City University of New York system. So it was a state-run school via the City of New York. And down the block, I think a block or two away, there was like a basement not a library, a basement bookstore for the occult, like paranormal and the occult. So I'm like I had some time to kill back then. And again, I was taking courses in business and history. At the time, history was my minor and business was my major. So I had some time to kill. Here's this weird bookstore of the occult. Right there. You know, there's nothing to do. I didn't know anybody in college. I just started school there. I have like 2 hours to kill to my next class. I already did my homework. I read my stuff. No, I'm not going to go to the library. So I go into this basement, creepy ass bookstore about the paranormal, and it was empty. There was a guy there, but he barely looked at me, and I just started walking around. And I would do this every so often for a while, and I would read up on this. Doesn't mean I believe in.
It's like the plot of some movie or something.
Yeah, it was. It was
like
really,
Gremlins or the Never-Ending Story or something.
It was really creepy. And what got me is, and then this is why I was going to do this segment on human sacrifice. There's a lot of creepy shit about killing kids in these occult bookstores. You know, it's a weird.
Didn't Beto write about some shit like that?
Yeah, he did. It's a lot of fucking things in there. It kind of creeped me out, but like when you read it, you kind of don't like. You don't pick up on it right away. You know, you're talking about this or that, but there's a lot when you start looking at it. Like, what was there was Mr. Crawley, Aleister Crowley, right? The who actually has connections to Scientology and even to the deep state because he was one of his disciples was Alan Parsons. I think it was Alan. Was it Parsons? Was his name?
Alan Parsons Project.
Yeah, he's the guy who founded the Jet Laboratories out in the the Jet Laboratory. He's basically the guy that founded NASA. Later on, and they were doing a lot of weird shit out in the desert, like they called it workings. And then Aleister Crowley's book. A lot of people say he was a fraud or whatever. He might have been. He was a fraud, but you read a lot. He was a heroin addict, he was a fraud and whatever, but he wrote these books about like human sacrifice, and the best kind of human sacrifice is a male sacrifice and whatever. And I would read this shit, and that's it's creepy as fucking fuck, and then like I think I told you this once when I was talking to these girls that are supposed to be like Wiccans and pagans and whatever. And they're telling me they're Wiccans and they're pagans and they that's the real religion or whatever. And I would look at them straight in the face and I'll say, so when are you having the human or animal sacrifice? And they looked at me, no, I'm a vegan. I would never kill a kid. But I go, that's exactly what paganism and Wiccan and all this shit is. You have to kill an animal. It's part of the whole thing. I mean, that's what Santeria is.
We're going to talk about the statue of Moloch.
Yeah,
I looked at the article, so I'm just going to interrupt you by popular
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I looked at the article, so I think it's like a replica or something, and they're saying that it's like it's to be like authentic. It's in front of the Colosseum or something. It seems a little weird to me. I don't know. I just glanced at the article. I thought that was like a Middle Eastern thing. I don't even know how Roman that is. It seems a little strange.
It's not Roman. What it was is what I know about it, which I found odd. This is one of these odd things where I remember a tweet of yours that you said that, you're talking about, they don't want us to have all these kids, all these kids, but then they import these people to replace us because there's not enough kids, Remember you had a tweet like that. And I found that interesting because the whole reason for Moloch to be there, the reason they put up that statue is in Rome, they were having a Carthage appreciation day, like they like to remember the lost city of Carthage that Rome wiped out of from the face of the earth. And I go, that's fucking weird. You go to Rome, the country of that founded the Roman Empire, that waged the Carthaginian wars, that wiped out, insulted the earth of Carthage, and you're kind of telling the people of Rome that your ancestors were evil. Maybe they were evil. I don't know. Your ancestors were evil, and we side with the victims of the Romans. You're horrible people, Rome. And here's the symbol of your enemy that you wiped out a long time ago. That's like going to Athens, which they've tried to do. That's like going to Greece and saying, we're going to have a monument to the Turks, that you defeated. We're going to have a monument to your enemies here in Greece, because you Greeks were bad that you wiped out this, you kicked the Turks out. How dare you, Greece? It's like the powers that be, whoever these powers are, they want us to feel bad about
monument to the Nazis in France or something.
Well, something. It's pretty much. I mean, the Carthaginians were fucking awful people. Rome wasn't that much better, but they weren't sacrificing kids. At the time, Carthage was a slave state, just like Rome was a slave state, and they were just as bad as Rome, but they were a little bit worse. If you read the Bible, the Carthaginians or the Phoenicians. They're carrying out human sacrifices. They're Baal, the God, the Lord of the Flies.
When people point out, they say, "Well, Christians have done all this bad stuff," and some of that's true to an extent, and then sometimes they've been infiltrated, like in my opinion, by the globalist Pope. But what do you compare it with? You compare it with the pagans before they were doing human sacrifices. You think that's more moral?
That's exactly.